Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going over a poll by Bowling Green State University that looks at 800 Ohio registered voters, all 18 plus, from February 2025. And this poll goes over a lot of interesting things about current events with the Trump administration and President Trump, but also gives us an early look at the 2026 Ohio elections as well. So starting with the poll, I'm going to just go down here, read just to start off, there's a plus 5.63% margin of error, and the survey result field dates were between February 14th and February 21st, and I believe this was released just a few days ago in Real Clear Politics. It was released on Saturday, March 8th. So here we go. Question 1. These days, many people are so busy they can't find time to register to vote or move around so often they do not get a chance to re-register. Are you now registered to vote in your precinct or election district within the state of Ohio, or haven't you been able to register so far? Over 100% or 100% said, yes, I'm registered to vote. Did you vote in Ohio in the November 2024 election? 98% said yes, 2% said no. Who did you vote for in the November presidential election, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Donald Trump got 54%, Kamala Harris 44%, 1% said another candidate, 1% did not vote in the race. Just to give you a little comparison, 54-44 of this poll, the actual results in Ohio ended up being 55-44. So this is about pretty much spot on with what the poll ended up being with the actual election results. Looking more in depth at it, Trump got 55.14%, Harris got 43.93%. Who did you vote for in the November 2024 election for Ohio U.S. Senate? Bernie Moreno got 50%, Sherrod Brown 48%, some other candidate 0 did not vote 2. I know off the top of my head, Sherrod Brown got around 46%, Bernie Moreno got around 50%. When did you make up your mind on who you would vote for in the November 2024 Senate race? Knew all along, 61%, 23% said several months before, several weeks before the election, 12% in the last week too, on the day of the election too. Do you regret your vote for president in the 2024 campaign? 3% said yes, 97% said no. Do you think that the country is headed in the right direction or in the wrong track? 44% say right direction, wrong track say 45%, not sure 11%. So it's interesting, it's a 1 point in the negative direction, but that is very, very close. Again, margin of error plus or minus 5. Do you think Ohio is moving in the right direction or in the wrong track? 37% say right direction, 39% wrong track, 24% not sure, so a lot more unsure about Ohio than about the state. From this list, which of the following is most important for you when you think about the state of politics today? Inflation 16%, abortion 4, guns 1, opioids 0, conflict in the Middle East 1, conflict in Ukraine 0, healthcare 6, threats to democracy 22, crime 1, immigration 14, the economy in general 24, LGBTQ issues 1, foreign affairs 1, K through 12 education 2, higher education 0, not sure 2, other 5, totals 100. Thinking about your own economic situation over the past year, do you feel your personal economic situation has gotten better, worse, or stayed the same? Gotten much better, 3%, gotten somewhat better, 14%, those two add up for about 17%. Stayed about the same, 42%, gotten somewhat worse, 29%, gotten much worse, 11%. So that's about 40% for gotten much worse, 17% better, 42% about the same, not sure, 1%. Over the past year, do you feel the nation's economic situation has gotten better, worse, or stayed the same? Gotten much better, 3%, somewhat better, 12%, stayed about the same, 24%, gotten somewhat worse, 34%, gotten much worse, 24%. So an overwhelming majority think it's gotten worse in some capacity. Favorability metrics. Do you approve or disapprove of the way Donald Trump is handling his job as president? Strongly approve, 37%, somewhat approve, 13%. That combines for 50%. Neither is about 5%, somewhat disapprove 6%, strongly disapprove 38%. That will combine for about 44%. So it'd be about 50-40 in terms of favorable to unfavorable based off this poll. Do you approve of the way the governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, is handling his job? 12% approve, 30% somewhat approved, that's 52%. Neither approved nor disapprove, 17. And then somewhat disapprove is 22. Strongly disapprove is 16. That would be about 38%. So DeWine has a lot less, I would say, solid support than, or DeWine has a lot more not sure support than Trump does. How do you feel about President Trump's presidency? Very hopeful, 38%. Hopeful, 17%. That adds up to about 51%. Not very hopeful, 11. Not at all hopeful, 34. That adds up to about 45%, pretty much in line with the approval numbers. Trust in government. Do you always trust the government? 3%, most of the time 9%, half the time 16, some of the time 46, never 22, don't know 4. How often can you trust the state government in Columbus to do the right thing? 1% say always, so actually less than the federal government. That's interesting. Most of the time, 16%, so that's higher than the federal government, about the same, 21%, 41% some of the time, and 13% never. Which of the following do you trust to do what is right? Trust the branch of national government, the United States Congress, 13%, Supreme Court, 34%, President, 35%, Ohio's governor, 22%, Ohio State Legislature, 17%, Ohio State Supreme Court, 24%, trusted branch of the government, none, 39%. How effective do you believe the system of checks and balances is in maintaining accountability in the federal government? Very effective, 11, somewhat effective, 33, not very effective, 28, not effective at all, 22. So definitely about 50% here between not very effective and or not effective at all. About 50% here, about 44% on the effective side. Would you say you follow the news all or most of the time? 53%, some of the time 30%, only now and then 11, hardly ever 6. Is your opinion each of the following people or organizations favorable or unfavorable? Joe Biden, 16% favorable, 16% somewhat favorable, it's about 32%. Neither favorable nor unfavorable, 9%. Somewhat unfavorable, 13%. Strongly unfavorable, 46%. Certainly unfavorable, a lot higher. Donald Trump, 37% strongly, 13% somewhat. That is 50%. And then unfavorable is about 45% combined, 6% somewhat, 39% strongly. J.D. Vance, Vice President now, former Senator from Ohio, 34% strongly favorable, 15% somewhat favorable. That's going to add up. Let's see, it's going to be about 49%, along with Trump, 36.7, so that's going to be about 43 on the unfavorable side. Sherrod Brown, about 42% favorable, looking at around, what's that, about 40% unfavorable, so pretty even. Bernie Moreno, 18.23, let's see here, that's going to be about 41% favorable, and we're looking at about 42% unfavorable. So again, pretty clear. There's a lot of these. I'm not going to read all of them. This is going to take a while, but Kamala Harris, more unfavorable. That's a big one. Elon Musk, 26.18 favorable. That's going to be about, let's see, 44%. And then approximately 44% disfavorable as well. Getting some of the governor candidates, Vivek Ramaswamy has about a, let's see here, what's that going to be? 36% favorability rating, about 35% unfavorable. Now we get into the really juicy stuff. Do you plan to vote in the Democratic or Republican primary in 2026, or do not plan to vote in either primary? Democratic primary, 36%, Republican, 49%, neither, 15%. Which candidate would you like to be the Democratic nominee for governor in 2026? Tim Ryan, 17%, Sherrod Brown, former senator, 59%, Amy Acton, 20%, someone else, 4%. Which candidate would you like to be the Democratic nominee for Ohio's governor in 2026? I think that's a typo. I am pretty sure one of these is supposed to say U.S. Senate. I think the poll made a mistake here. Which candidate would you like to see the Democratic governor? I'm going to assume this one's the governor one. Tim Ryan, 45. Amy Acton, 46. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Which candidate would you like to see be the Democratic nominee for governor in Ohio in 2026? This time, Sherrod Brown was not included in the poll. Tim Ryan got 45%, Amy Acton 46%. So in a two-way race between Ryan and Acton, it's a lot more of a close race than when Sherrod Brown's included, where Brown has a clear majority there. Looking at which candidate you would like in the Republican primary for Ohio governor, Dave Yost, comes in with 24%. Vivek Ramaswamy, endorsed by President Trump, 61%. Heather Hill gets 6%, other 9%. So Vivek off to a very big lead in this poll. We know it's early, but would you like to know who would you vote for in Ohio's 2026 U.S. Senate race? Republican Senator John Husted has 47%. Democratic former Senator Sherrod Brown, 41%, a 6-point lead for the Republican. 12% of voters not sure. We'd like to know who would you vote for in the Ohio 2026 U.S. Senate race between John Husted and Democrat Tim Ryan. In this scenario, Husted has 2 less support at 45%. Tim Ryan at 38% has 3% less than Sherrod Brown did, 17% not sure. Then the poll goes into some policies as well about Trump's executive orders. 28% strongly support, 18% somewhat support on military propositions related to immigration enforcement, national security. Trump executive order policies, Trump executive order policies on Mexico, on ending remote work policies and such. I'm not going to read through all these. There's a lot of words here and a lot of them, but you can pause the video if you want to read them and look at these. I'm just going to scroll through the rest of these. I really want to get into the elections part, and I'm glad we got to do that. If there's a tie in the Electoral College vote, who picks the President of the United States? This is kind of like a civics test. Presidential Cabinet, 2%. U.S. House of Representatives, 36%. U.S. Senate, 14%. A Convention of States, 8%. Not sure, 40%. Which of the following rights is guaranteed by the First Amendment of the Constitution? Right to freedom of religion, 62. Right to bear arms, 11. Right to privacy, 5. Right to remain silent, 10. Not sure, 11. Okay. I mean, all right. What determines how many representatives each state gets in the U.S. House of Representatives? The number of people who live in the state, how large the state is geographically, number of voting age citizens, how many people in the state pay federal taxes, not sure. I've never seen a lot of polls ask these questions in the poll. This is very interesting. For how many years is a U.S. Senator elected? That is how long is the term of a U.S. Senator. 8% say 2, 17% say 4, 6 years, 60% correct, 8 years, 3%, 11% not sure. When a justice is confirmed to the U.S. Supreme Court, how long are they appointed for? 4 years, 10 years, until a president decides to replace them, 75 years old, or lifetime appointment, 79%. Good job there. Regardless of where you currently live, do you usually think of yourself as a city person, suburb person, small town? City, 21, suburb, 42, small town, 17, country, rural, 19. How many children under the age of 18 live with you? 0, 76%, 1, 11, 2, 8, 3, 3, 4, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0. Are any of your household members a member of a local, state, or national labor union? Yes, I am, 7%. Yes, someone who lives with me, 5%. Yes, and others in my house, 1. These all combine for, what's that, about 13%. 86% say no. Have you served or are currently serving on active duty in the U.S. Armed Forces? 11% say yes, I have served. 0% currently serving. 88% say no. That is the last page of the poll. So this is very interesting. A lot of key findings here, very important for the state of Ohio. Obviously, as my channel is mostly based and focused on elections, particularly interested in the Ohio numbers for Senate and for governor, where it looks like Husted versus Sherrod Brown starts off about 1 point closer than Husted versus Tim Ryan. There's a lot less undecided vote in the Husted versus Brown one, but that seems to be the likely matchup. If Sherrod Brown runs, would be Husted versus Brown. If he doesn't, Husted versus Tim Ryan seems to be it. On the governor's side of things, Vivek Ramaswamy continues to have a large lead in the Republican primary, and a Democratic nominee or Democratic primary, Tim Ryan versus Amy Acton, essentially a toss-up race, so only 1 point separating Ryan and Acton, so that could get very, very interesting and very competitive. That'll do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like. Make sure to click subscribe, leave a comment below telling me your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you in a future video.